Hello everybody, my name is LaQuan and this is Hot Mode, and today on Hot Mode we are coming to you with your part 4 Met Gala Fashion Roast and Review. We have this video and then the after party looks because it never stops. Before we are done with our 2024 Met Gala coverage, and this part is really just wrapping up everybody else, or mostly everybody else that showed up. But here, unfortunately, there wasn't really a lot of sticking to the theme for the most part. So without further ado, let's bang this one out. First up, we have Adut Akech, and she is standing with LaQuan Smith himself. Now, the inspiration allegedly was this Yves Saint Laurent fragrance campaign from 2006, which starred Maria Carla Boscano, where she is covered in sort of white florals that sit across the body. And I assume that's why we get this big flower that sits on the side of this wrap skirt. Now, in LaQuan fashion, it's a catsuit, a sheer catsuit, and he's just added this wrap skirt and a flower on it, and it's a white lace floral motif running throughout. There's a big keyhole cutout. Now, LaQuan did say, quote, "This was an exciting moment to create something dreamy and fantastical." I don't know about that, with respect. Seems like something I've seen before. Not really dreamy, nor fantastical, at least not what I'm dreaming about fantastically. It's blah, it's boring, it's disinteresting. The fact that even where this sort of side slit on the bottom of the catsuit sort of wrinkles up. And the thing is, again, I understand certain designers don't have crazy amounts of budget to just be throwing at looks. But again, I just think that this still is a moment for you to really like, wow, especially when it's Adut. So yeah, listen, everybody looks nice, but that's not why we're here. Next up, we have Adwoa Aboah, and she is wearing H&M. This is a custom look, and this is where Adwoa announced that she was pregnant. Congratulations, I'm so happy for you, as I always say. The pregnancy belly is an accessory you only have for 9 months, so you should use it. What I also think we should use, though, in this moment, is a look that's actually on theme. So here's my issue with the H&M looks in general, is especially for like a fast fashion brand, why are we allowing them to not be on theme? Why? I don't understand. I don't get it. I'm not comprehending. Like, what about this H&M design team says, oh, fashion, we really thought things through? I'm not getting it. I'm not understanding. I'm not picking up what you're putting down. And like, that is normally how I am with H&M. But this in particular, out of everybody that could just sort of do whatever and fit the theme, I would think you could do it. How many designs have you stolen? I feel like you guys have a lot of experience with a lot of different designer looks. One would think, oh, H&M, wow, they'd be able to copy somebody else's work and then sell it as their own, maybe possibly. Evidently not. They can't design, they can't read the story. Adwoa did say that her makeup, though, is inspired by Queen Amidala from Star Wars, because that obviously totally ties into the Sleeping Beauty's Reawakening fashion and the Garden of Time theme, 100%. As a non-Star Wars viewer, even I know that. Even I know completely the 100% reference. And if you don't, what are you doing? That's so crazy of you that you don't know that reference point connecting all 3 of those plots. Next up, we have Amanda Gorman, and she is wearing Prada. Now, this is a custom look. I believe that it's a light blue sort of jacquard. Listen, it's really pretty. And the shoulder straps do sort of fold over and sort of lay out. And I do think it's interesting, really only because it's Prada, and I feel like there's some sort of layered element of bourgeois exploration. And also the look was inspired by Dido Elizabeth Bell. There's that famous portrait of Dido and Lady Elizabeth. I believe that they were related, either sisters or cousins, but Dido was actually enslaved. And so what Amanda wanted to do was sort of reconfigure that idea of being an enslaved person during that late 18th century period and sort of reconfiguring it so that you're reversing that element of time, rechanging the narrative to not being seen as like a background or side character or just not really existing in portraiture at all, but rather being the centerfold and main point. And like, I think that's really lovely. And I do think it's really sweet. And I do love a Dido reference. And besides the fact that like the foliage is there, I'll be honest, I don't really see the reference. I don't want to speak out of place here, but she is a poet laureate. She knows how to write. I don't disagree, but I'm not going to call it on theme. Next up, we have Angel Reese, and she is wearing 16 Arlington. Now this, I really, really like Angel Reese. I think she's very smart. I think she understands, and I think she's a big part of why the WNBA is having its moment, and I love it. What I also will say is this is not on theme. This is a feather hip dress with a deep plunge, a halter neckline, a sheer skirt. And I know that the embroidery on both the skirt and the bodice are probably references to old school embroidery. And that's great, and that's wonderful, and that's time. I get it, but no, I'm not accepting. I'm sorry, I'm really not. I don't love the hip. I really don't think it works. And I also just really truly feel like Angel Reese in particular, like, she's tall, she's beautiful. Like, you cut her right at the middle. You cut her body right in the middle with this big feather poof. I'm not understanding. I know that the designer of 16 Arlington is British, but like, she plays basketball. She's tall. Why not dress her in a dress that one would say, oh my God, that's not the dress for that. I'm gonna call this a technical foul on 16 Arlington. Next up, we have Anok Yai, and she is wearing a Swarovski. Now, Swarovski, honestly, I would say, as a brand, did quite a nice job in terms of all the looks were really beautiful. Were all the looks on theme? That's a different conversation. But love Anok Yai in this fully crystal bodysuit, and any other place I'd say, oh my God, she's gorgeous, she's stunning, she's lovely. And I do say those things, she is. Theme, no. What I'll say is, I do know that Swarovski was like, listen, this is about water, and we wanted this idea of fluidity, and we wanted this idea of a second skin, because water, second skin. I don't love the fact that it has nothing to do with the theme. What I will say is the fact that that sheer does from afar really, really match Anok's skin tone, I'm like kind of obsessed with, because it really does look like a second skin. And I do think that the idea of the ombre and the blue is cool and interesting and all that jazz. I know it's also like partially inspired by the portrait of Emily Floge by Gustav Klimt. Again, I think everybody at this point is just like saying things so that it's like, we're on theme, and we're not really on theme. We're just saying things. Really pretty look, not on theme. Next up, we have Awkwafina, H&M, custom. I know that these like discs that cover the bodice are maybe like recycled or something. I don't know. I don't really understand it. And I also like don't understand H&M being at the Met Gala, especially if they consistently aren't on theme. Consistently. The other thing I'll say is they try to like weave this story of, oh, well, this skirt is inspired by a tulip. Your tulips are yapping and nothing of substance is coming out, so I don't really want to hear it. It's bullshit. I don't love the dress. The paillette thing is weird. No, I'm okay. It has pockets, so that's great, but the rest of it, no. Next up, we have Aya Nakamura, and she is wearing Balmain. And here's the thing that pisses me off about the look. To me, Aya's face says it all. That's how I feel when I look at this. This fully embellished trellis dress, which that's the motif that's going on, and it's inspired by the spring 2024 Balmain collection. That was the one that got stolen. Unfortunately, it's May, so can't blame it on the stealing element anymore. The flowers on it, like, I do think that it's an interesting concept doing the trellis and the flower sort of roses moving up it. Like, I don't disagree with that. My big issue is, why are the girls smashed in there? They look like they are being choked. They look like they are literally being asphyxiated. Like, they need to breathe. They need air. They need room. This is not right. I feel uncomfortable for them. And also, I'm going to be honest, I feel like maybe that hurts. Like, if you have those, like even one of those little crystals digging in, that must hurt. The second thing is, Aya Nakamura, I believe, is the woman that is going to be singing at the Olympics in Paris this coming year in June, July, whenever it is. And I kind of am annoyed that they didn't really like do a full moment for this, because I feel like that would have been a really, really good way, at least here in the US or maybe just globally in general, to have like put Aya's name out there even more, so that when we knew, oh, she's going to be coming up and doing the whole big rigmarole singing at the Olympics, like it would have been like, wow! I think the dress in concept is great, and I really like the idea. I just think that the girls are smashed, and also it should have been like crazier and bigger and better and like something wild that we all would have been talking about. And it kind of frustrates me too, because like when you go to Paris and you go to the shows, Aya Nakamura walks in and like the French people go wild, and like French people don't really go wild to me. It's like Princess Diana. She's like Princess Diana to them. Like she walks in and they're like, Aya Nakamura, she's here. I'm even more confused by it. Next up, we have Cailee Spaeny, and she is wearing Miu Miu. Now, this is a custom Miu Miu look, and she is a Miu Miu ambassador, but I'm pretty positive that this is based on a Prada collection, just want to say. The spring 2023 Prada collection, and then there was a pre-wrinkled Prada collection, and so I feel like we're obviously referencing past collections. That's the whole like Garden of Time thing to a degree, and then on top of it, she has like these metal flower brooches. What I will say is, again, anywhere else I'd be like, oh, I love this. This is magnificent. It's really chic. It's really cool. The idea of like Prada doing embellishment and embroideries that are not avant-garde per se, but unusual, not really the norm. I love that. I think it's fun. It's a house code. I love the wrinkling. I love the little Peter Pan collar. I think it's really cute and lovely and fun. I'm not completely sold on this idea of flower and the Garden of Time thing. I wish that they'd used real like dead stock fabric and they would have then pre-wrinkled it and it would have really turned into this whole like thing and it would have been scary looking and ripping apart. I think that would have been really interesting. And I think that the brands feel like there's so much that they could have done that really isn't that like super out of the box conceptually. It really was about this idea of materials changing over time. I like the look. I think it's cute. It's just for this moment. Now, next up we have Elizabeth Debicki. She's wearing Dior. She is the chartreuse chanteuse, even though I guess this isn't really like chartreusey, it's more gold. What I also know is that this look is, I believe, inspired by Titania, who is from Midsummer's Night's Dream, and then there was like some alleged referencing to the 60s and the 70s, and I don't know, garden parties in boho, and was, I believe, like a woman that falls in love with a mule or something, or a man that's a mule, and then she doesn't, then she does, I don't know. But long story short, there was some reference to like the 1935 making of Midsummer's Night's Dream and the costume, but like, where is that big fringe experience? I want that. I need that. I deserve that. Because that's a moment. This Dior dress is bunched up at the bust. Maria Grazia Chiuri is not Madeleine Vianney, nor Madame Grey. So like, no, I'm good. Secondly, Christian Dior's brand was not like slinky bias cut. No. Boo. I rebuke it. I do like the headpiece with the tiger lily thing on it. That's interesting. But besides that, I'm good. I'm okay. Somebody get that woman out of that Dior contract because it is concerning. Next up we have FKA Twigs, and she's wearing a full look made out of lab-grown diamonds, which is great. Love lab-grown diamonds. That's wonderful. But again, I don't know. Lab-grown crystals? Maybe I take it. Crystal flower, but no. And also, I do, again, love this like wool, yarn, coat, yarn loops. I think that's great. And again, anywhere else, I'd be like, FKA Twigs, so lovely, so wonderful, so gorgeous, so stunning. It's not on theme. Next up, we have Hari Nef. She is also wearing H&M. She has the paillettes. There's this fitted gown. Listen, it's really pretty. The big bow in the back, like, it's really pretty. I know that there's partially a reference to like Margot McKendry, which was a picture that was shot by Avedon. And then there was like also a reference like Crystal LaBeija. And I love a reference. That's great. That's wonderful. And I love Hari. I think she looks really stunning. I just don't think it's on theme. So that's that. You know, there's nothing else I can do. She looks pretty. They all look great. They all look wonderful. It's just, it's not on theme. And so I'm okay. Next up we have Imaan Hammam, and she is also wearing Swarovski. This is a custom style, and I believe that this is a gold sort of cape top filled with all different crystals. There are some like clear crystals, there are some sort of yellowy goldy crystals, and then a gold skirt with crystals on top to really make it shimmer and shine. Now again, the Swarovski PR team, they tried, and I appreciate them. I hope that you all are having a great day, because they said that the J.G. Ballard Garden of Time story quote that they were referencing was, "The sun was always shining here, the gentle hours passing among the flowers." I guess that's technically on theme. I don't want to give it to you, but I think this is my issue with all of the brands, is your PR teams need to be doing little write-ups that are much smarter like this. Even if it's not really on theme to me, at least you're attempting. I do know that there was like references to Egypt and hieroglyphics and different sort of goddesses of sun. Also, again, we were seeing a lot of Gustav Klimt imagery, the woman in gold, things like that. Listen, Imaan looks stunning. She looks beautiful. I do really like the top. I think the top is rather striking, and I like this idea of like a cape crop top with the high neck. The skirt I don't love as much. I wish that we had just had a continuation of this gold crystal moment flowing all the way down, or maybe there was a little bit more flower action on the skirt, possibly. Again, like the top, the skirt, not sold on. And also theme-wise, okay, but again. And next up we have Irina Shayk, and she is also wearing Swarovski, and this one I really was like, no, that's bullshit. The bullshit artists are bullshitting. The advertising and marketing degrees are agreeing right now, because the inspiration from Swarovski here is the Garden of Time. As the dusk approached, the flowers began to glow faintly in the twilight, each one encased in its own aura of light. At the peak of each stem was the time flower, the size of a goblet, the opaque outer petals enclosing the crystal heart. And again, I understand that like Swarovski is a crystal brand, that's what it does. It makes sense. I totally get it. I think it is chic and wonderful and all that. I understand. I just wish that it wasn't just a crystal dress and that was it. Like, it's fine. It fits nicely. I do like a lot of the jewelry, the big crystals. I think they adorned it quite well jewelry-wise. It's just the dress, blah. There's not even like a flower to tempt that. And so I say, bullshit. Again, appreciate the team putting it out there and doing what they could do, but this one, not gonna cut it for me whatsoever. Next up we have Ivy Getty, and she is wearing Connor Ives, and she's actually standing next to Connor. Now Connor Ives, if you don't know, is an American designer, but he's based in the UK, and you've probably seen those t-shirts that are sort of spliced down the middle, and one says like, Harv, and the other says Ford, and it's Stanford and Harvard t-shirts put together, and it's all different sort of upcycled styles. And Connor really likes an upcycled moment. Ivy is lovely. She's a socialite. She's a fashion girly. She has an impressive vintage collection, so I gotta respect. What I also will say is, this felt like one of the only times that we're actually seeing anybody take on the theme in a smart way. This dress is made up of 300-year-old hand-embroidered wall tapestries from the Qing dynasty. Sold. Easy. Done. It's beautiful, it's stunning, it has flowers all over it, it's in this luscious light sort of beige with gold embroidery. A peacock? I'm unsure, but it's this pinky bird thing and there's flowers. But the other great thing about the look is a lot of the fabric is frayed, a lot of the fabric is sort of decaying, if you will. And then this stole that is wrapped around Ivy's sort of bodice also is sort of fraying and flying off. And I like this idea of using old fabric. It's smart. I think it's a cool way to also sort of show decay, even though this doesn't look super duper decayed. I'm just like happy to see that Ivy and Connor came together to actually like do a look that took on the theme, still had flowers in it, and still looked at the concept of time and the way that materials change. Like, look at the threads, like they're falling away and they're splintering and they're creeping all over. It's just like, it's a cool way of going about this idea of degrading and decay. So I'm very happy, very grateful. Thank you. Next up we have Jodie Turner-Smith, and she is wearing Burberry. This is a custom look. Listen, it's a white floral sheer panel over a form-fitting dress. I don't really know if this is made out of dead stock fabric. From what I could get out of Burberry, I don't know. And if that's the case, great. If it's not the case, Also, it's full of English flowers, was definitely bridal. It's representing a rebirth. That's really lovely. She looks really pretty, just not at all on theme, so I'm okay. Thank you, Jodie. Next up, we have Kaia Gerber. She's wearing Prada. This is a custom style. It is essentially a fully pailleted white pearlescent dress. I tried to find what the theme was. I tried to find what the reference was. I don't think there is one. I think they just put her in a paillette dress and called it a day. And like, again, listen, beautiful, stunning, great, wonderful. Theme? No. So stop. Like, especially Kaia, I feel like with the models in particular, there's that expectation that like you dress to the theme. You look stunning, you look beautiful, we're happy to see it. But theme on. .com. Especially with Prada, I feel like at least have done like a reference to a past collection, and I would have been like, all right, well, at least there's a reference there. But a paillette dress, that's pretty sure. Theme? Again, non-existent. Next up we have Karlie Kloss, and she is also wearing a Swarovski. Now this is a custom style, and I will say that out of all of the Swarovski moments, I think this is probably the most interesting in terms of like theme. Again, not super on theme, but I do like the idea of this pink crystal dress that is covered in these crystal vines and flowers, also in pink. I love the way that they wrap around the neck, the bodice, parts of the shoulder, and then slowly fade as they move down. I also wonder if the vine possibly is like a reference to the brambles that sort of cover the stone statues at the end of the story, and Lana Del Rey, I think, really captured that as well. I didn't mention that in that part of the review, but there was a lot of layers and nuances to that moment. What I also will say though is like, I just think it looks rather sweet. I don't really think there's like a time element. I know that they said it's something about like Karlie being a mother and embodies strength and delicacy. Let's not get crazy. Let's not relate it back to the story, sure. I don't want to hear anything else. I'm okay, I'm good. I love delicacy and strength and being a mother, and that's great, and that's whatever. I'm not that Kansas City Chiefs kicker, but we're good. You don't do too much. Listen, she looks stunning. She looks beautiful. There's a flower in it. Is it on theme? I guess we'll move on. Next up we have Lala Anthony, and she is wearing Alexander McQueen. Now this is from Sarah Burton's final collection, and it does have a garden-centric element to it to a degree. She is wearing this big, beautiful mermaid-style dress that has a big blood red orchid on it. I do like the addition of the black floral lace, which wasn't on the runway, that's on Lala's body. I think it's cute, it differentiates itself just a little bit from the actual runway moment. Again, garden, fine, I guess, flower, sure. Would I want more from Lala in terms of like host element? And I know I'm saying that as I'm wearing a black t-shirt, but yeah, I would. I think it would be a little bit more. Oh. And Lala also is like so on camera for the Met too, which I think is my issue with like a lot of the hosts is like, if you're so on camera, you need to be so on theme. You should also understand the theme very much so. Yeah. Next up we have Lauren Santo Domingo. If you don't know who Lauren Santo Domingo is, she is the founder of Moda Operandi, which is a company that essentially does a lot of trunk shows for big fashion brands. So if you see something on the runway that you really, really love, you can like pre-order that and they'll be the sort of broker between you and the brand or certain brands. But I love this because I think Lauren Santo Domingo is most definitely one of like the chic socialite women. Bring back the socialites to the Met because they get it. They understand it. Ivy, Lauren, and even though like this floral dress by Loewe, I would say is maybe a little bit bare bones in terms of like garden theme, this dress is fully made out of white feathers. So if we zoom in, we will see that this dress is layers of white feathers that then was printed on, and like that's fine. You know what I mean? It's not just embroidery. No, this is chic. This is lovely. I think it's really cool. I think Lauren Santo Domingo is a fashion girl. She gets it. This is how I expect people to dress up for the Met. Even if it's not crazy on theme, there's something innovative, something interesting, something diabolically wonderful going on inside of their brains in terms of fashion. This, yes, sold, happy, content. Next up we have Lena Mafoof, and she is wearing Schiaparelli. Now this is from the fall 2021, spring 2021 Haute Couture collection, so this is from a while ago. But as far as YouTubers go, happy to see Lena there. She always goes for the theme, and I'm very grateful to her. I also will say that this big rose sort of bodice, I think it's on theme in terms of like garden element. Would I have like loved some sort of decay aspect? Sure. Would I say that girls are giving the YouTubers like full custom haute couture all the time? No. So like she deserves it, but did she get it? I'm unsure. I do think though that like at least there's some different element of flower, some different element of garden going on. It's not just, again, an embroidery or a print, and we're calling it a day. And as far as taking the flower aspect, pulling from, you know, older collections, I think she's done it. She's fine. Again, the YouTubers, the influencers this year really not giving us a reason to look bad. So again, I am grateful to my fellow girlies for doing it. Next up, we have Lily Gladstone, and she is wearing custom Stella McCartney. And now, here's the thing. It's a strapless black dress that has a sheer black cape over top. And then what we can see is there are these hand-embroidered stars that are made from recycled silver and glass beads. And it's actually a collaboration with the artist Carrie Atombi, fine jewelry maker. And like Lily Gladstone, she is Native American, and honestly, I do love the concept of the dress. Do I think it's on theme? No. But the concept of the dress is actually to look at the fact that the star system is a thing. And now the star system is meant to reference the summer solstice and the fact that the nations of the Great Plains do sort of have a lot of religious and symbolic and ritualistic connection to the star systems. I believe that they're called the Kiowa constellations to the nations of the Great Plains. And Lily did do like a very good explanation of this look and what it means to her and her people, which I respect a lot, I have to be honest. And I think that when people sort of tie in different elements, even though it's not on theme, I do respect it. I do like the storyline. I do think it's cool. Again, not on theme, so, you know. But at the same time, I'm not going to be like, ooh. And I do like the fact that Lily Gladstone consistently is sort of trying to bring in different Native artists, whoever the designers are that she's working with, and the way that she also is able to get these big brands to do that, I have to say, is a very cool experience to see. Would I love to see more of like a floral time element thing? Absolutely. I think that would have been really cool. But as far as this goes, like, interesting concept. I like the idea. I think the dress is nice. I don't think it's like too radical, but I do think that it's also supposed to be just sort of a beautiful, really dark background to these lovely little constellations. I'm pretty positive that the constellations on the cape and the dress, if you were to like lay them all out and then sort of pick them up and put them up to the sky, it would be the exact formation of the constellations. And so that I think is cool. It's an interesting concept. On theme, to me, not really, but we'll move on. Next up, we have Linda Evangelista. She is wearing Kate. This is a custom look, and the whole concept was just framing Linda's face, which, like, I'm going to be completely honest, I love. Linda's my girl, my model. Like, she is my supermodel, the chameleon, an icon. Do I like this look? No, I don't like the skirt and where the skirt comes out in the bottom. I'm also like just not obsessed with the whole concept in general. I just wish that like Kate let themselves go a little bit and tried to do something a little bit not minimal in white, beige, black, gray. I think this one, it sucks, unfortunately. Love Linda, she's great. Hate the dress. No concept, no theme, done. Next up, we have Madeline Klein. She's wearing custom Tommy Hilfiger. Tried to like look into the theme or whatever of this. I don't think that there really is one, and if they did, it wasn't good enough that I remember it. There is like flowers on this little shirt gown style, and I do know that like it's buttoned up and there's a placket in the front, and I do think that the idea of like the train in the back maybe is a reference to like late 19th century dress. They were trying to like tie in the cream color to the statues in the end of the story, and I'm going to be honest, like it was stone. I'm sure that there are cream stones. I know that those exist, but nobody ever was like, oh yeah, it's a cream stone. And J.G. Ballard wasn't like, yes, the cream stone that they turned into. No, he didn't. So you were just trying to find something. I think the like 19th century silhouette, sure. The flowers on it, sure. Whatever. But in the grand scheme of things, blah. Michelle Williams showed up. She said, I don't care. She's wearing Chanel. That really is the sign to me of not caring. And she's wearing this short cocktail dress in white. I believe it's some sort of either embroidered or jacquard little style. And then there's this white cape over top. And like, I'll be honest, I think it's a fun look. I like the short, high-low concept. I love the big poofy sleeves and the chiffon. I do think it's like a lovely little look. I'm not mad about it in that regard. Do I think that it's on theme? No. Absolutely not. I also just feel like, again, like, girls, let the fabric fray. Like, that's it. That's all really anybody had to do. And I would have been like, okay, time, clothing, material, textile, decaying, changing, shifting. No. Everything had to look perfect and wonderful and gorgeous and stunning. But at the same time, like, the whole thing is about getting press. And I'll be honest, I feel like everybody would have got a lot of press if they made their dresses look like they got torn, cut up, you know, a little bit of water damage, a little smoke damage, a little bit, you know, something. Next up, we have Naomi Campbell. She's wearing Burberry. Do I think the dress is pretty? Sure, absolutely. Storyline? No. No theme, no nothing. Just Naomi looking sweet and lovely. And that's great, again. But this is not the time to look hot. This is the time to do it, to show it, to be exciting. Next up, we have Penelope Cruz. She's wearing Chanel, and I believe that this is a custom look, and Penelope Cruz is smart. Penelope Cruz said, I wanted my look to be inspired by Chanel, I think it's like mid to late 50s, haute couture dresses that were in black lace. And so there are all these different sort of forms of black lace throughout this dress. In terms of like grand scheme of things, is it on theme? I guess there's florals in it. It's a reference back to the Chanel archives. Like, okay, fine. A little bit of like, ooh, what if we used lace from that time period that really had like shifted and changed over time? Would have been better. But as far as at least there was like a concept there, at least there was a thought process, at least we were like, yeah, let's do that. Great, sure, I'll take it, Penelope, at this point. You know, we're on video number 4, so what else do we have to lose here? We're getting through. Next up, we have Precious Lee. She's wearing Bad Binge Tong Tong, which is an up-and-coming brand based in New York. This is like a fairy look, big wings on a black velvet dress. I think the wings are very cool. I like the ruching, and I like that they look like veins and all that, and you could also maybe say that they look like leaves on a flower, great. But again, theme, time, gone, no, sure. Again, with the fairy thing, fairy is great. Do I think that there's like a fairy in the story? No. Fairies in gardens, I guess, but there are also fairies in a lot of other places. There are fairies in water, there are fairies in the sky, there are fairies in gay bars. Like, the fairy thing, not sold completely on the concept. Next up, we have Queen Latifah and Ebony Nichols, and they're both wearing Tom Brown. Now, let's talk about Ebony's look. Her look, I believe, is a Tom Brown moment from not last season, maybe 2 seasons ago. Maybe 3 seasons ago. Maybe it is last season, I don't remember exactly. But I do know that this is like partially inspired by 18th century dress, so like 1700s, Marie Antoinette, pannier, things like that. Am I totally thinking it's on theme? No, I'm not. Do I like the look and concept? Yes, I do. I like a Tom Brown. And I do like the fact that at least with this fabric, there's fraying and decay and swatches of moire and things like that. Like, at least there's something deconstruction-wise going on. As for Queen Latifah, I do know that these like little panels of white and black are meant to be flower references on her coat, and then there's a bird of paradise sequined form-fitting dress on both the cape and the dress, and sure, garden time, okay. I mean, like, if you put them both together as one singular look, you have the garden and the time concept, but separate, you have one of each. Again, not really jazz, not really wow. They look nice, but that's great. That's wonderful. Everybody looks nice. Next up, we have Rachel Sennett, and she's wearing Balenciaga, and this is a dress that is constructed of 3 different haute couture styles, but they're vintage haute couture pieces that I believe were bought somewhere else, and then Balenciaga and Demna recreated them into one singular dress, so that's why you see this bodice that is draped and has old-timey embroidery and glass beads, and then this skirt that has a totally different motif, and then you have the train that also is a totally different motif. So I do like that concept, and I do think that it was actually rather interesting when it was done on Michelle Yeoh. I was kind of confused why they didn't save that concept for the Met Gala, especially if they knew that that was what the theme was going to be at the point of doing like the Oscars and all that jazz. That is still very confusing to me. Do I like love the dress? No. Do I think that it's on theme and it's this concept of like reusing old material to bring about this idea of what time looks like? Yeah, and so like we'll take it. Next up we have Sarah Paulson, and she is wearing Prada, and this is based on the most recent Prada collection, fall 2024. It's this idea of the front looking a certain way. It's, you know, party in the front, business in the back, or business in the front, party in the back. I don't know. But I do love the look. I'll be honest. I think it's cool. I like this idea of the pink with the bows in the front, and the back sort of fully fades away, and it's this black sort of train. But also you have these little sort of flyaways of chiffon that sort of move and groove and create their own train. Again, I love the look in itself. Do I think that it's on theme? No. Next up we have Sarah Pigeon. She is wearing Christopher John Rogers. Listen, there's references obviously to like the pannier and that big skirt. I also know that from the research I've done. The top is in the color tomato and the skirt is in the color dirt. So I feel like that's where CJR was going for the whole concept and idea of like garden. Am I sold on it? No. Yeah, no. We're gonna move on. Next up we have Storm Reed, and she is wearing custom Coach. Now this coat is actually made up of old moto jacket, leather jackets, but it's also lined in the same material as the skirt, and I'm pretty positive that the skirt is also made up of dead stock fabric, which, like, again, if Coach is doing more on theme-age somewhat than you, reevaluate. I'm not trying to be mean to Coach, but if Coach is at least doing it, what are you doing? I'm not understanding. I do wish that Coach had sort of gone into like the archives a little bit more and sort of maybe like pulled out some Bonnie Cashin styles and like turned those into gowns or something for Storm. As far as the concept, I guess I'll take it. I guess. Next up we have Taraji P. Henson. She's wearing Simkai. I don't think it's on theme. I don't like this dress. I don't like the exposing of the corset on the side. I don't think that it fits super well. Like, I don't know why it's bunching out on the side there. And also the color, I think, is just a strange color to be like, yeah, let's expose that. I don't think it's a nice shade on anybody. The skirt, I don't like the way that it degrades. I guess it is like fraying in certain places, so like maybe it is on theme, and this idea of deconstruction or whatever, sure, I guess. But like, I just think it's an ugly dress, which sucks because I like Taraji P. Henson a lot. Next up we have Tessa Thompson. She's wearing Chanel. This dress is maybe a floral moment, Garden of Time. Do I think it's really on theme? No. Do I want to stop looking at it? Absolutely. There's like flowers. I feel like the silhouette is maybe a reference to like the Empire waistline. I don't like it. At least she's carrying like a thing of flowers in her hand. And I did look it up and I couldn't find anything on it. So next up we have Teyana Taylor. She is wearing the blondes. This is a custom look. Again, I swear that I did research on everybody. Like, I tried my darndest to like find if they were going for the theme and giving you that storyline. There's flowers on a red dress with a big sort of poof in the middle, and it's like a darker red velvet, and it's just, I don't know, I think it's ugly. We're moving swiftly through because I'm tired of this. Next up we have Venus Williams. She's wearing Marc Jacobs. It's based on the most recent Marc Jacobs show. I really like the concept of the show. understand why this dress compared to the one on the runway was strapless. It was a little bit more sort of comfortable for Venus, but I just would have rather her worn that big shoulder bell sleeve moment. I think it would have been more interesting, because this is just a strapless dress with mirror paillettes on it, and like, okay, I don't know, at least with like the bell sleeve and the shoulder and like that weird train, I would have had more to work with and just say, I like the idea, I think it's fun, but this, you know, it fits her well, but do I like the idea? Victorious already? No, hate this. This is Alaya. I'm so sorry. I really, really don't like this dress. I don't like it from this angle. I don't think it's on theme. I'm good. And again, I feel like with Azadine Alaya, there's stuff to have done. And we didn't do it, and it's annoying to me. And finally, we have Wendy and Grace Murdoch. They are both wearing Miss Sohee, the Korean designer, Korean haute couturier. Listen, again, they have flowers on their dresses. That's really pretty. That's really wonderful. I wish there was more degrading, more decay, more change of textile over time. And so thanks for being on theme, I guess, but we'll move on. That is the end of this video. Will I say that there is like a best here? I mean, I guess I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna put like Ivy Getty. I'm gonna put, oh, this is tough. Lauren Santo Domingo. I don't even think it's really that theme-ish, but I just think it looked good. This is toughy. This is a toughie. Storm Reed, I'll put in there because it's on theme. Okay, great. Let's move on to worst. Everybody else. This shit sucked. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is the end of our Met Gala actual roast and review. We'll do a little bit of an after party video as well. That'll be coming, so I hope you guys are staying tuned for that. Or if you're Met Gala'd out, I completely understand, because I am. I will see you guys in the next one, and TTYL.